bhagavato sāvaka. Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ dhammāṃ sanghaṃ namasami. So today's sutta is a Dhātuvibhaṅga sutta, the exposition of the elements. And so I will read out, and you can stop me if you want to ask any questions. So while I'm reading out these suttas, so thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was wandering in the Magadhan country and eventually arrived at Rajagaha. There he went to the potter Bhagawa and said to him, "If it is not inconvenience for you, Bhagawa, I will stay one night in your workshop." "It is not inconvenient for me, Venerable Sir, but there is a homeless one already staying there. If he agrees, then stay as long as you like, Venerable Sir." You see, no one knows that he is a Buddha. So that's why you can release, and because of someone enlightened, they soon have sense of self. They don't show off. They don't make themselves so special. That's why someone try to show that they are enlightened. I can tell you they're definitely not enlightened. Isn't it like you want to show that I'm so special, I'm so extraordinary? If someone try to make themselves extraordinary, then it's someone who enlightened that truly looks ordinary. They don't make themselves, I'm so special, That's why sometimes you can never judge someone. So it said, now there was a clansman named Pukkusati who had gone forth from the home life to homelessness out of faith in the Blessed One. And on that occasion, he was already staying in the potter's workshop. Then Blessed One went to the Venerable Pukkusati and said to him, If it is not inconvenient for you, Bhikkhu, I will stay one night in the workshop. The potter's workshop is large enough, friend. Let the Venerable One stay as long as he likes. Then the Blessed One entered the potter's workshop, prepared a spread of grass at one end, and sat down, folding his leg crosswise, setting his body erect, and establishing mindfulness in front of him. Then the Blessed One spent most of the night seated in meditation. And the Venerable Pukkusati also spent most of the night seated in meditation. Then the Blessed One thought, this clansman conducts himself in a way that inspires confidence. Suppose I were to question him. So he asked the Venerable Pukkusati, under whom have you gone forth, Bhikkhu? Who is your teacher? Whose Dhamma do you profess? Friend, that is a recluse Gautama, the son of Sakyan. So even the Buddha in front of him, he didn't know that he says is the Buddha in front of him. The son of Sakyan who went forth from the Sakyan clan. Now a good report of that blessed Gautama has been spread to this effect. The Blessed One is accomplished, fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, noble of the words, incomparable leaders of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. I have gone forth under Blessed One, that Blessed One is my teacher. I profess Dhamma that of Blessed One. So that's right. Even the Buddhas is already attained parinibbana. So, but because his teachings still exist, so we follow his teaching. And the Buddha is still our teacher, isn't it? He's still the teacher, And that's why in olden days, in that time, many people don't see. And then not like now, they hardly get teaching, isn't it? And that's how long that they want to meet a monk also difficult, to get teaching. And then they're all, just like through verbal and memorized. Not like us now, you have a lot of materials, and then you go online and you have thousands of talks, So, but the bhikkhu, where is the Blessed One, an accomplished and fully enlightened now living? He asked Pukkusati. There is friend, a city in northern country named Savatthi. The Blessed One, accomplished and fully enlightened, is now living there. But bhikkhu, have you ever seen Blessed One before? Would you recognize him if you saw him? There is no friend. I have never seen that Blessed One before, nor would I recognize him if I saw him. That's why he didn't know that the Buddha he didn't know that in front of him is the Buddha. That's why he addressed him friend, and not like a venerable, just address him like just an ordinary person, so as friend. So then the Blessed One thought, the clansmen have gone forth from the home life into homelessness under me. Suppose I were to teach him the Dhamma. So the Blessed One addressed the Venerable Pukkusati thus, Bhikkhu, I will teach you the Dhamma. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, friends. The Venerable Pukkusati replied, the Blessed One said this, Bhikkhu, this person consists of 6 elements, 6 bases of contact, and 8 kinds of mental exploration, and he has 4 foundations. So the ties of conceiving will not sweep over one stand upon this foundation. When the ties of conceiving no longer sweep over him, he is called a sage at peace. One should not neglect wisdom, should preserve truth, should cultivate relinquishment, and should train for peace. So the Buddhists talk about these 4 foundations is not the 4 foundation of mindfulness. He said about this 4 foundation is a foundation of wisdom, foundation of truth, foundation of relinquishment, that renounce, and should train for peace. If you have this 4 foundation, so that is where you attain enlightenment, you attain nibbana. So he said that you will call the sage at peace, you attain peace. So there is a wisdom, foundation of wisdom, truth, relinquishment, and peace, foundation of peace. So this is the 4 foundations that the Buddha mentioned. And this is a summary of the exposition of the 6 elements. So because he was talking about there's 6 contexts, and then you have 18 kinds of mental exploration. So we go further in detail. He will explain why 18, why. So bhikkhus, this person consists of 6 elements. So it was said, and with reference to what was this said, they are the earth element, water element, fire element, air element, space element, and consciousness element. So this was with reference to this that was said, Bhikkhu, these persons consist of 6 elements. So the 6 elements, normally most people will know is about the 4 elements, but now they got 6, then there is a space element, because there's space between, and now they have the consciousness elements. The consciousness elements arises when you have the contact, like eye contact, that the consciousness arises. So that's it. This is 6 altogether, including the consciousness elements as 6 elements. Bhikkhus, this person consists of 6 bases of contact. So it was said, with reference to what was said, they are the so they are the base of eye contact, base of ear contact, the base of nose contact, the base of tongue contact, the base of body contact, and the base of like the taste, smell, and the mind contact. Mind like something's pops up in your mind. Then you have the object. Then sometimes when this object comes out, then that is the mind contact with the mental object. So sometimes like something pops out, and maybe sometimes things that is the mental object. Sometimes this is where the feelings are. When there's a context, the feelings arises. So it was with reference to this that it was said, because this person consists of 6 bases of contact. So Bhikkhu, this person consists of 18 kinds of mental exploration. So it was said, and with reference to what was said, On seeing a form with the eye, one explores a form productive of joy, one explores a form productive of grief, one explores a form productive of equanimity. So it's like when there is a contact, then there is a feelings arises. Like when we see something, this is something on the eyes, you see something that is pleasing to the eyes, and then then you have joy, and then there's like, and then once explore a form, a productive grief, something that trigger off, you see something, or maybe sometimes someone make a big face to you, and you don't like it, then not happy. And then also explore a form of equanimity. Sometimes, you see something, you just, like a neutral feeling. So when there is a contact, there's three kinds of feelings arises, pleasure, happy, or a pain, and we don't like it. Whether we hear, like the taste, like the eyes, taste, oh, I don't like this. Tastes horrible, or sometimes it's okay, it's fine, it just equanimous, like you have this neutral feeling. So that's why, this is the reason why it's altogether 18, because you have the 6 bases of context. So you have 3 kinds of feelings arises. So 6 times 3 is 18. So that is altogether 18 mental exploration. So he said, then, so on hearing a sound with the ear, and with the ear, and then on smelling and audios with the nose, on the tasting a flavor with the tongue, on touching a tangible with the body, or cognizing the mind object with the mind, one explores a mind object productive of joy, one explores a mind object productive of grief, and one explores mind object productive of equanimity. So it was with a reference to this that was said, because the person consists of 18 kinds of mental exploration. So it's like, because of most of the time, we normally get sucked in, we get affected when there is pleasant and unpleasant. Normally neutral feeling normally give rise to bored, so boring, nothing. It's because it's equanimous. But actually, the neutral feeling itself actually is pleasant. But because it's in a very subtle form, because our mind is not refined enough to be experienced that. Like, so, for example, like some people, they have a very, very, very refined taste bud, isn't it? For me, tea is tea. I can't tell the difference. Like some people will tell me, oh, this tea is really good. To me, I drink all the tea tastes the same. I can't tell the difference. But people can tell, like some people taste the wine also, they can tell you which year, And they have very refined, they can tell the difference. It's in a very, they have very subtle. And the same thing, the mind have the subtle. When your mind is subtle, then you'll be able to experience it. But most people, when it is neutral, nothing happened, because we used to the excitement. We used to, because we've been stimulated all the time. That's why we are here, the craving. That's why we are here, we stimulate. So we used to it, we need to have that kind of stimulation, that kind of excitement. Because pleasant, unpleasant, you have the excitement there. So we need the excitement. So when nothing, neutral, bored, But actually, neutral itself actually is pleasant. But because our mind is not refined enough to be able to experience that. Because this person has 4 foundations, so it was said. And with reference to what was said, they are the foundation of wisdom, the foundation of truth, the foundation of relinquishment, and the foundation of peace. So it was with reference to this that was said, because this person has 4 foundations. So he's mentioned now, I think mostly people, when you talk about the 4 foundations, people always refer to the 4 foundations of mindfulness. But here the Buddhists refer to the 4 foundations is wisdom, truth, because with the wisdom that is the clarity, you develop the clarity, so you'll be able to see the truth. So you can see the sequence, when you develop your wisdom, this is how our wisdom, when we develop, actually is the level of clarity. So as we develop more and more clarity, that's where we develop our wisdom. So when we have more and more clarity, we can see things as that truly are, you have more clarity, you can see more, then that's why you can see, you are closer to the truth, as we develop a clarity. So you see the truth. When you see the truth, you understand that. We don't cling on to that, and we because that we don't have the sense of self, we don't try to own things, whatever experiences, we don't think that, this is mine, and I try to make that happen, we try to control, because you can see that it's this nature, this is true. That's why you no longer so passionate. We let go, we renounce. We don't hold on to that anymore, because you know that there is nothing for us to hold on to. Until you see that, isn't it? If you can't see that, we still then the itself. That's why the key to enlightenment. That is anatta. You see the sense. You see the non-self. So it's very difficult to have the nibbida, like, you turn away, nibbida, unless you see non-self. If not, we still want to come back, we still want to control. It's still me. It may be this time, maybe I'm not doing that good. Maybe next time I'm better. I come back better, I do it better next time. Because it's still there, you still want to control. So unless you see it, if you can't see non-self, it's very difficult. That, like people say, I don't want to reborn. You don't want to reborn. It's craving not to be. It's still crave, Craving to be, craving not to be is still crave. But it's not come with that. People think that, I don't want to reborn. That actually is not truly with the Pali term that called nibbida, that is we turn away. We no longer interested, we no longer wanting, interested all the worldly things anymore, because we know that that's not going to give us, free us, they're going to bind us. So, we were bound by all these things, because you be able to see the truth. Then you renounce, relinquish, you let it go, not clinging to it, not hold on to that. So then you'll be able to letting go. And then after, with that, when we let go, how do we feel? Peaceful, isn't it? Actually, the holding on itself, that is that causes, when we hold on to something, lots of tension. It's not relaxed. So when we let go, we feel relaxed, we feel peaceful, isn't it? We have the experience, isn't it? Sometimes, when we hold on to certain things, you feel really a lot of tension in your body, and that agitation is there. You feel the agitation, you feel the irritation. But the moment, especially sometimes some things that it's really bother us, and some things that we cannot let go, we feel that is really unpleasant. So actually, the moment we let go, we feel like you feel the freedom, isn't it? You feel like certainly the some things that is so heavy, you feel like you just let go of this thing that you've been carrying with you and so heavy. Then the moment you let go, you feel free, relaxed. Then you're peaceful. So this you can see the sequence. When you have the wisdom, you have the foundation of wisdom, and that leads to, you see the truth. When you see the truth, then you won't suck in anymore. You know that it's not going to do us, not for our own well-being. You let go. Then when you let go, you have peace. So he said, so this is the Buddha said, because this person has 4 foundations. So one should not neglect wisdom, should preserve truth, should cultivate relinquishments, and should train for peace. So it was said, and with reference to what was this said, how, because does one not neglect wisdom? There are these 6 elements: earth element, water element, the fire elements, the air element, space element, and consciousness element. So what, because is the earth element? The earth elements may be either internal, external. What is internal? Earth elements, whatever internally belonging to oneself, solid. So we take anything that is internally, to be oneself is solid. So anything that is solid, so solidify and clung to, that is like hair, head hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, nails, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestine, mesentery, contents of the stomach, as feces or whatever else internally belongs to oneself. You see how we hold on, isn't it? Nowadays people spend so much time, doing their hair. Now, my time we don't have that. Now you have this manicure, you go to the shop, they spend so much money to make the nails, and so much of that because how we think this to be me, my nail, I want to beautify it, and this is mine. So they said there's the Buddha said that this is the internal, of my body. This is my body. This is me. We have the ownership. We tend to own it. We tend to own our body. We think that this is me. So even the external things is all made up of all these 4 elements. Like the table, chair, they have these elements, that have space elements, they have these. The only thing, the object outside, you don't have the conscious element. But basically, look at the chair, at the food, and that when you extract out all the water, the space, actually not much left, isn't it? The content, that anything that's solid is not much, but all make up, even the chair, everything is made up of this element. So that's why, because the Buddha said that why, that we does not neglect wisdom. There is the 6 elements. He talked about that, that we don't see this as me and mine, he said. So there is internal, external, everything that is internal, that is solid, so that both internal and external, this earth element, external earth element is simply earth element. We look upon, like when someone has wisdom, whatever you see, it's just okay, earth element is just earth element, nothing special. But those without wisdom, you take it as, oh, this is my hair, this is me, it belongs to me, and that it should be seen as it actually is with proper wisdom. So then actually you truly perceive, you truly see things as they truly are, rather than we try to own it and we think that we can make it stay like that forever, because when you have the sense of self, when the sense of self is there, because we think that we own it, because a lot of people don't understand. We talk about non-self, and then sometimes in the class, certain class we talk about non-self, and then after the end of the class, people still ask me questions, non-self. So who am I? Why am I here? So when we talk about non-self, it's not that we are not here. It's just like when that is a self, then we can control. We can make it stay the same. Like if that is we can say, okay, I don't want to grow old. I want my hair is always don't turn gray. I mean, it's always nice, the color that are nice. I want to have nice thick hair. That you can do that if there is cell. And then you can make it stay the same. But the body, everything, when you grow, everything, when all disintegrate, isn't it? When we die, everything gone back, gone back to the nature, to the earth, to the air, and the fire element is hot or cold, and it's all go back to the nature. And then our body, when we cremate, even we bury it also, it's all become ashes, all go to become earth. That's why we all make up of these 4 elements. They go back to the nature. So that's why, if someone with proper wisdom, the Buddha said, you see this as just element, earth element, nothing much, but how much we add on, we make it to be myself, come from the sense of self, and then that's why we try to control. So that's why it says, actually is with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. Then when one sees it thus, as it actually is with proper wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with the earth element and makes the mind dispassionate towards the earth element. So when we see that this is just an earth element, then we don't cling down to that. We don't try to own it, like don't have the possessiveness that this is me, belongs to me. And how much people spend so much time, and then and for example, even some people, hold on to the hairstyle, and they're so upset if the hairdresser think the hairstyle is not nice enough, that they so get upset, oh, not nice my hairstyle, and they're affected, they're so sad, just because with the hair, and but it's just if we see this, just the hair is just an element, nothing so special. So then we don't cling on to that. Then once we cling on to that, actually we create much more suffering for ourselves, isn't it? That is a add-on suffering. So that's why we don't have the wisdom. We can't see that it's just the earth element. So what bhikkhus is the water element? The water elements may be either internal or external. What is the internal water element? Whatever internally belongs to oneself is watery and clung to, and that is bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grace, spittle, snot, oil of the joints, urine, or whatever else internally belongs to oneself, like what is inside, our body, that, like the phlegm, everything that is like liquid, anything that is a fluid, that is a water element. And whatever else internally belongs to oneself is watery and clung to. This is called internal water element. And both the internal water element and the external water elements are simply water elements. And it should be seen as actually is, with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. When one sees it does as it is, actually is, with proper wisdom, one becomes disenchanted and with the water elements and makes the mind dispassionate towards the water element. So what bhikkhus is the fire element? So the fire element may be either internal or external. What is the internal fire element? Whatever internally belongs to oneself is the fiery and clung to, that is like hot and cold, the temp, like hot and cold, the heat, that is a fire element. And clung to, and that is that by which it is warm, ages, and is consumed, and that by which is eaten, drunk, consumed, and tasted, gets completely digested, or whatever else internally. Like for example, when we eat, we need to have the fire to help to digest our food, inside our, our stomach, you need to have that fire element that help us to digest our food, what we have eat. That is all the inside our body. So it's called the internal fire element. Now, both the internal fire element and the external fire element are simply fire elements, and that should be seen as it actually is, with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. When one sees it does as it actually is, with proper wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with fire element, makes the mind dispassionate towards the fire element. So what bhikkhus is the air element? The air element may be either internal or external. What is the internal air element? Whatever internally belongs to oneself is air, airy, clung to. What is up, going in all the winds, sometimes the stomach, you can feel the wind in my stomach, up going and down going winds in the belly, winds in the bowels, winds that cause the wind that comes through the limbs and our breathing, in-breath and out-breath, and whatever else internally belonging to oneself is air, airy, clung to, and it's called internal air element. How both the internal element and the external element are simply air element. And that should be seen as it actually is with proper wisdom. This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. And when one sees it does as it actually is with proper wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with the air element and makes the mind dispassionate towards the air element. What Pukkus is a space element? The space elements may be either internal or external. What is the internal space element? Whatever internally belongs to oneself is space, spatial, and the clung to, that is the holes of the ear, the nostril, the door of the mouth, and the aperture, whether that whatever eaten, drunk, consumed, tasted, gets swallowed, and when where is collects and whereby is excreted from below, or whatever else internally, belongs to oneself is space, spatial, and clung to. This is called the internal space element. Both the internal space element and the external space element are simply space element, and that should be seen as it actually is with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. When one sees it thus as it actually is with proper wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with space element and makes the mind dispassionate towards the space element. Then there remains only the consciousness purified. So when we all see all these things as just elements, so then it remains only the consciousness. The consciousness then purified, because we are not hold on to that. You don't have the sense of self. You are not sucked in, so we are not affected by that. So the consciousness, so the remains the only consciousness is purified, bright. Because this is when he said there's the remain only consciousness purified and bright, and this one cognizes with consciousness, one cognizes this is pleasant and cognizes this is painful, and you just know that okay, when we are not clinging on to that, you don't come with the sense of self. So what you see that the consciousness only knows that okay, this is painful, this is not painful, this is neither painful nor that's it, not more than that. But when we hold on to things and we create that sense of self, we add on so much, we color, we filter out, and this is how, and then then we are not really perceiving things as they truly are. So that's what is that when this one cognizes with that consciousness, one cognizes that this is pleasant, and one cognizes that this is painful. This is painful. One cognizes that this is neither painful nor pleasant, independent on a contact to be felt as pleasant, that arises pleasant feeling. When one feels a pleasant feelings, one understands that I feel pleasant feelings. One understands that with the cessation of the same contact to be felt as pleasant is corresponding feelings. The pleasant feelings that arose in dependence on that contact to be felt as pleasant ceases and subside. Independent on the contact to be felt as painful, that arises painful feelings. And when one feels painful feelings, one understands that I feel a painful feelings. One understands that with the cessation of that same contact to be felt as painful is corresponding feelings. The painful feelings arose in dependence on that contact to be felt as painful cease and subside. In dependence on contact to be felt as neither painful feeling nor pleasant, that arises neither painful nor pleasant feelings. And one feels neither painful nor pleasant feelings, one understands that I feel neither painful nor pleasant feelings. One understands with the cessation of that same contact to be felt as neither painful nor pleasant is corresponding feeling. The neither painful nor pleasant feelings that arose in dependence on that contact to be felt as neither painful nor pleasant feelings ceases and subside. And because just as from the contact, the two friction of the fire stick heat is generated. And the fire is produced. So this is how when there is a contact, it's just like there's a fire state, and there's a contact, it will rub, there's a friction, so fire arises. So the same thing when the context, when the object and our sense base, there is a contact happen and arises, the feelings arises. But when we come with that sense of self, and pleasant feeling, we upset, isn't it? Very, wow, it's so pleasant, it's so nice, it's gone. We don't hold on to that. I want to make it stay. And unpleasant feeling, no, this I don't want this unpleasant feelings, it's not me, Like for example, people think that it's wrong, and sometimes you don't feel so good. You feel, sometimes you feel a bit down. Maybe sometimes you feel a bit like grumpy, and then we don't like that feelings, like this is unpleasant, Then we try to make it go away, or something that is nice, we try to make it stay. But when we have the proper wisdom, you just see that, when you don't have the sense of self, pleasant feeling is just pleasant feelings. Unpleasant is just unpleasant. Neutral feeling is just neutral feeling. We just let it come and go. Is leave it, okay? When you just recognize that, okay, this is pleasant, okay, pleasant, stop. This is unpleasant, okay, it's unpleasant, stop. And this is a neutral feelings, okay, stop. But how much we add on, isn't it? We create so much that, we make it so meaningful. Oh, this is feelings, how wonderful, I want to have this, go on and on and on, and create so much. And then that gives rise to great hatred, isn't it? Anger, ill will. And when we can't get what we want, we got upset. Even sometimes when we get what we want also, we want more. We want it to stay. We try to control, we try to manipulate. And rather than just, just recognize that feelings arises, feelings pass away. It arise and subside. So suffering comes, suffering go. Happiness come, happiness go. But if we come from the sense of self, we have the sense of self, so that is how we get sucked in, and then we got affected by that. So that's why further he will explain about, like, they talk about two sticks that the heat is generated, because it's just like, he just explained that the feelings arises because of the sixth sense base with the object when you have the contact. When contact happens, feeling arises. It's just like that you produce the heat. So a lot of people think that, that the object is a problem. When they have suffering, they have unpleasant feelings, then they think that its object is the problem. They're unable to see when there is a contact, what arises within this moment, that feelings. Yeah, that is the dependent arising. That's what the Buddha said. If you see the Dharma, you see the dependence arising. And that causes the suffering. That's really bind us. But most people, we think that, that we upset because the person said nasty thing to us, but we unable to see what arises because we don't like it. It's not pleasing to the ears. We don't perceive things as they truly is. It's just sound. If you take it as the sound, it's just air element, go through, sound element, it just go through, nothing special, that is, we will not affect by that. But if we keep looking at that things, our suffering is come from outside because of the people I live with, the terrible, but actually, the person that you don't like, the person you think that the causes suffering, even the person is not there, you still have anger, isn't it? Yeah. We are unable to see what arises within this moment when this contact, just like the Buddha said, when the heat generated, the fire, the fire, they produce, the fire is produced. So what is produced, we can't see, we can't catch. And then, because very quick, the dependence origination, the 12 link, happen in one single moment. It's not like slow motion, one after another. It's already one round of rebirth, That we have the desires, and then the tanha, the upatana, we cling on, the attachment, and then that is go into the consciousness, and then birth take place, And it's very fast, you know. That's why sometimes each time, you know, that whatever comes up in this moment, we are unable to catch that. There's one link already, 12 links already, one round, we go one round already, rebirth take place in one single moment. That's why it's so important that we practice present moment awareness, aware of that, aware what's happening, what arises in this moment, because it's very subtle. It's very difficult to catch, isn't it? What comes out? Because most of the time, by the time we aware of that, it's already gone. We already sucked in. We already attached to that. We already have all this emotion, you know, affected by this, you know. It's already gone, you know. But to be able to catch that, just to see, you know, so you are not affected. But whatever, like those enlightened ones, they see, to them, pain is just pain. Pleasant is just pleasant. They don't add on, but it's those that the Buddha said those foolish one, you know, the wise one, they just perceive, you know, they just see you know, pleasant feelings, you know, when happiness arises, happiness pass away, and suffering arises, suffering pass away. They don't attach to that. They don't feed it, you know. They just see, you know, to them it doesn't affect them. So, and then with the separation and disjunction of these two fire states, the corresponding heat ceases and subsides. So too, it's just like he said, like when these come, when you rub, you know, the fire produce. But if you leave it like, you know, it's just, if we separate this, you know, we don't cling on, but this, because we take this as something, the whole thing as me and mine, you know, and then when this is how we bind together, then that's why it produces, you know, a fire. But if it's just disenchanted, we don't take it to be me and mine, we don't hold on to that, and actually it's just like you separate the two states, there's no fire, it subsides, you know. Then the feelings arises that the desires, the craving happening, when feelings arises, that desires, that craving, because of the craving, when the craving stops, you know, then this thing won't come together, then the fire is not there. So, independence on contact to be felt as pleasant, to be felt as painful, to be felt as neither painful nor pleasant. There arises neither painful nor pleasant feelings. One understands, with the cessation of the same contact to be felt as neither painful nor pleasant, its corresponding feelings cease and subside. Then there remains only equanimity, purified, bright, malleable, beauty, and radiance. Suppose because a skilled goldsmith with his apprentice were to prepare a furnace, heat up the crucible, take some gold with tongs and put it into the crucible. From time to time he would blow on it, and from time to time he would sprinkle water over it, and from time to time he would just look on. The gold would become refined, well refined, completely refined, faultless, rich of dross, malleable, beauty, and radiant. Then, whatever kind of ornament he wished to make from it, whether a gold chain, earrings, necklace, or golden garland, it will serve his purpose. So too, because then there remain only equanimity, purified, bright, malleable, worthy, and radiant. He understands that. If I were to direct this equanimity, so purified, bright, to this space of infinite space, and to develop my mind accordingly. So I will stop here. I explain this paragraph 20, and this is actually is referred to that you're in the, when is the fourth jhana, that is equanimity. The mind is bright. That is you overcome the five interests. You know, the five interests that cloud our mind. Is just like, you know, when it is cloudy, you know, it's a cloud. That's why you can't see the sun is not bright. So that's why this is the dimension is the equanimity. When the fourth jhana, your mind is just equanimous, it's so bright. The mind is become really still, completely still. So that is overcome the five hindrances. What are the five hindrances? That is desires, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness, and doubt. So, but he just used this as a simile, like how it's so bright, like the gold, it's so bright, and already take out all the impurity. The five hindrances like the impurity, because the five hindrances that really stop us, that cloud our mind, that we can't see things. That's why it's not clear. It's just like the gold. When you take out all the impurity, it's just bright and very nice. That the mind is in that state, like just bright, no impurities. It's just purity, because the five hindrances is not there. So it's actually in the fourth jhana that that the mind become completely still, really purified. There's no movement, no excitement. It's just still. So this is the 20th paragraph. And the 21, when he said that it's direct, this equanimity so purified and bright, and the base of infinite space, and develop my mind accordingly. Actually, now he's talking about the fifth jhana, the sixth jhana, and the seventh jhana, and the eighth jhana. Now he's talking about that. The base of infinite space, and to develop my mind accordingly, and this equanimity of mind supported by that base cling to it and would remain for a very long time. There is is a deep state of absorption. There is more refined state. So if I direct this equanimity to purified and bright, and the base of it, so it will come from the space, the base of infinite consciousness, to the base of nothingness, to the base of neither perception or non-perception, and develop my mind accordingly. Then this equanimity of mind, supported by that base, clinging to it, would remain a very long time. So there is the higher stages of absorption. So in the higher stages of absorption, meditation, the relationship between the space and consciousness also can be seen, because the mind is so refined. You'll be able to see the space between the consciousness also can be seen, where if the consciousness of the infinity of the space becomes the object of the meditation. That's why the mind is so in that deep. Your mind have to be really still. Like for example, when we are moving, we can't see things, isn't it? So the mind is really completely still and so refined that you'll be able to see that the space becomes the object of the meditation, and the experience of infinity of the consciousness also arise. After all things and forms, ideas eliminated in the meditation of infinity of space. So because we constantly, we have all this idea, imagination, is all concept, isn't it? But this, you just experience that, even the space, you can experience, this is a very refined, the mind is a very refined state, and to them, it's just, you be able to see, that like the between the space and consciousness also you can be seen. But it's a very refined level. This is a higher stages of absorption meditation. This is the fifth jhana and the sixth jhana. So, and then space here have no properties, and that's that of infinity of nothingness, no non-materiality. There is no two properties or expression or space experience. During an intuitive experience, consciousness will identify itself with the object of meditation. If it is an infinite one, the consciousness will also become infinite and unlimited. Like your mind, like your mind is just boundless, because at times like we always bound, like because of with the concept, with the ideas, we have all these. That's why we have become like really rigid, like we cannot think, actually our mind, is just like we bound by all the ideas, concept, but now, the mind is just boundless, that's so refined in that higher state. So the consciousness will also become infinite and unlimited, and the consciousness itself will then become aware of its own boundless. Now it becomes like no boundary, boundless. And in a similar way, the consciousness of emptiness, of the absence of all material or imagined things, of nothing, it becomes like object of the last stage of absorption. So it's like you think of nothing, you're still thinking, a lot of people say, I think nothing. You think nothing, also you're thinking, It's just like in the box, You say the box is empty, but you still have the box, But this is no boundary. So the last stage of this, the last stage of the last stage consists of just awareness of the emptiness of consciousness, called the state of neither perception or non-perception. So the common denominator of all these stages of meditation is based on the concept and base experience space of space and progressive unification from our surface consciousness to the oneness of our depth consciousness. And the Buddhist in here, he talked about this from the fourth jhana to the fifth and sixth, that there is a higher stage of absorption meditation. The mind is become very refined. So then, and that's why he said that the mind becomes so raised. So because then there remains only equanimity, purified and bright, and malleable and beauty and radiant. So then he talked about until the 21st paragraph is that is a fifth to 8 jhanas. He talked about and then that you can stay there for a long time. And people in jhana, you can stay for a long time, and also you can control some people that you can determine how long you want to sit. You be in jhana, you can say like 8 hours or 2 hours or how many hours, and actually that people very skilled in doing jhanas, they can determine how long they can sit. So he understands that I were to direct this equanimity, so purify and bright to the base of infinite space, and to develop my mind accordingly, this would be conditioned. If I were to direct this equanimity, so purify and bright to the base of infinite consciousness, the base of nothingness, to the base of neither perception or non-perception, to develop my mind accordingly, this would be conditioned. He does not form any condition or generate any volition tending towards either being or non-being. So that's why then you don't have that karmic formation anymore, because whatever you see, you just perceive that, like that's the mind is just like that. You're no more conditioning, so you don't have. That's right. There's no more. It will not generate any formation, any volition tending towards either being or not being. So you will not have that becoming, craving to be, craving not to be, want to be reborn again. Since he does not form any condition, because the condition is not there, because the craving is not there, so there's like no more rebirth. We don't create the condition, so no more condition, because whatever you see, you just see, you perceive things as they truly are, and no more craving, no more becoming. So any volition that tending towards either become being or non-being, he does not cling to anything in this world. So that is a nibbita. So no more clinging. So he does not cling. He is not agitated. Then he is not agitated. He's personally attained nibbana. So he understands this. Birth is destroyed when this. If we no longer have this karmic forces anymore, because the energy, the karmic, the volition, the action, like when we react to things, either wholesome and unwholesome. So the rebirth takes place according to our action. Like it's wholesome, then we will born in a better place. Then when this is when there's unwholesome, then we end up in a place that is not that is not so favorable. But that we still want to come back, like that there is a becoming, But because these have it's just like no more fuel, Like when we react, when we set attachment, it's much more like we giving fuel, like you giving nutrients, So that's why whatever comes up, that's why the Buddha said, an enlightened person, if someone is a foolish person, he said that an enlightened person, the mind constantly react. So when we react, we are feeding it. It's just like we keep adding on fuel. The fire will continue to burn. So when there is no more fuel, nothing to burn, nothing left. So that's why sometimes even though we don't react, to this, this moment, and we stay equanimous, but we still next time we still have that emotion come out, but it will become less intense. The intensity of that emotion become less, and this is how slowly, because we don't add on new energy, because our action, our karmic formation, our volition, that put in new energy. It's just like the ball. If we keep kicking the ball will keep on spinning. Even we stop kicking the ball still spin. But it's become slow, isn't it? Because we didn't add in new energy. There's no more fuel. They said the upatana, actually the attachment that we giving fuel, we giving nutrients, that it keep growing. So then even though we stop feeding it, they still have the remainder, the fuel is still there. But eventually, if we continue not to add on fuel, eventually nothing to burn, and then fire cease. And this is how the practice very slow. It's a frequent asked questions. People say, "Oh, why?" I say, I still feel angry. I have anger. So I look at the person. I say, "What do you expect?" Of course, I say, unless you're anagami, non-returner, then you have no anger. I say, what you can see that intensity of the emotion become, you know for yourself, like for example, you see your progress, like things that used to bother you for a long time, now doesn't bother you that long. And then we can see that actually we lessen our suffering. It's lessened. And this is how slowly getting less and less, and then stop. We can't make it, can't just stop like that, because all this fuel that how many lifetime, is already built up. So I said, don't not to worry about that, and not to think about how long, and then again when you worry about that, you think of how long I have to practice and only I get out of it. And then again I say, you reinforce that, counterproductive. I said, no, just keep practicing. It's just like the Buddha said, if you know that you're facing the right direction, all you need to do is keep walking. Go along. You know that this is the right track, this is the right path, so you just keep going. So that so now is the paragraph 23. So he said, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, and what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. So, or no becoming, because all this suffering, because when the Buddha first that he's seeking for this, says deathless, because of he see the four sign, and then it's because all this suffering, old age, suffering, birth, old age, sickness, sickness, old age, and death. So because why? Why we say we have the body? Why we die? Because of body. If we don't have the body, we'll get sick. If we are not born, we won't die. So there's a lot of things that there's actually not an easy solution. The only way, being born, we cannot escape. This is part of inevitable, that sometimes we have to live on the expense of others, and there is no easy solution, isn't it? That's part of life. Sometimes whatever you do is also not right. So the only way that really want to free ourselves is not to be born. That's the only way, and that's that's why the Buddha's searching for the deathless, actually, that is not to be reborn. because then you don't have the karmic, they're not conditioned to come back anymore. So then now we come to paragraph 23. If he feels a pleasant feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He can see that it is impermanent. There is no holding to it, and there is no delight in it. And he feels a painful feelings, he understands that it's impermanent. It's no holding to it. Then this way you see the non-self, the impermanent, you see the suffering. There is no holding to it, and there is no delight in it. If he feels a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands that it is impermanent. There is no holding to it, and there is no delight in it. So he feels a pleasant feelings, he feels detached. If he feels painful feelings, he feels it is detached. If he feels neither painful nor pleasant feelings, he feels it detached. When he feels feelings terminating with the body, he understands, I feel feelings terminating with the body. And he feels feelings terminating with life, he understands that I feel feelings terminating with life. I understand on the dissolution of the body with the ending of life, all that is felt not being delighted in will become cool right here. Because just as an oil lamp burns in dependence on oil and wick, and when the oils and wick are used up, if it does not get any more fuel, it's extinguished from lack of fuel. So too, when he feels feelings terminating with the body, feelings terminating with life, he understands, I feel a feelings terminating with life. He understands that on the dissolution of the body, with the ending of life, all that is felt not being delighted in will become cool right here. Therefore, a bhikkhu possessing this wisdom possess the supreme foundation of wisdom. So this is the wisdom. That's why we keep coming here, the 12 links, because of ignorance, because of we don't understand the Four Noble Truths, we don't understand the non-self, we don't see non-self. That's why we keep coming back, That's why he said when we possess, the supreme foundation of wisdom for this bhikkhu is the supreme noble wisdom, namely the knowledge of the destruction of all suffering. So his deliverance being founded upon truth is unshakable, for that is false bhikkhus, which has deceptive nature. So when that is false, and because which has deceptive nature, and that is true, when it is true, which has an undeceptive nature, that is nibbana. Because what we perceive things that is very deceptive. We are not perceiving things as they truly are. Because of our mind, we don't have the clarity. Because it's just like the mind being clouded, confused. Therefore, because possessing this truth possesses the supreme foundation of truth. For this, because the supreme noble truth, namely nibbana, which has an undeceptive nature. Formerly, when he was ignorant, he undertook and accepted acquisitions. Now he has abandoned them, cut them off, like it's already no longer cling on, and no longer attached. And it's just cutting the root, make them like a palm stems, done away with them, so that they are no longer subject to future arising, so no more future arising. Therefore, a bhikkhu possessing this relinquishment, possesses the supreme foundation of relinquishment. For these bhikkhus is the supreme noble relinquishment, namely the relinquishment of all acquisitions. Formerly, when he was ignorant, he experienced covetousness and desires and lust. Now he has abandoned them, cut them off, and at the root, make them like palm stems, done away with them, so that they are no longer subject to future arising. So there's no more karmic forces, no more coming back. So formerly, when he was ignorant, he experienced anger, ill will, hate. Now he has abandoned them, cut them off at the root. There's no more great hatred and delusion anymore. and make them like a palm stumps, done away with them, so that they are no longer subject to future arising. Formerly, when he was ignorant, he experienced ignorance and delusion. Now he has abandoned them, cut them off at the root, make them like a palm stumps, done away with them, so that they are no longer subject to future arising. Therefore, a bhikkhu possessing this peace possesses the supreme foundation of peace. For this, bhikkhu is supreme noble peace, namely for the pacification of lust, hate, and delusion. So that's why it's already abandoned the lust, hate, and delusion. So it was with reference to this that it was said, one should not neglect wisdom, should preserve truth, should cultivate relinquishment, and should train for peace. The ties of conceiving do not sweep over one who stands upon this foundation. And when the ties of this conceiving no longer sweep over him, he is called sage at peace. So someone is already enlightened. So it was said, and with reference to what was this said, bhikkhu, I am is conceiving, I am this is a conceiving, I shall be this is conceiving, I shall not be this is conceiving, I shall be possessed of form is conceiving, I shall be formless is conceiving, I shall be percipience is conceiving, I shall be non-perceiving, percipience is a conceiving. I shall be neither percipience or non-percipience is conceiving. Conceiving is a disease. Conceiving is a tumor. Conceiving is a dart. By overcoming all conceivings, because one is called a sage at peace, and the sage at peace is not born, does not age, does not die. He is not shaken and is not agitated. For that is not present in him, by which he might be born. Not being born, how could he age? Not aging, how could he die? Not dying, how could he be shaken? Not being shaken, why should he be agitated? So it's already, because no longer don't have the sense of self anymore. Because it's all conceiving that I think that I am kind. That the identity will no more identity view. That is, how we have the image of ourselves, like I am kind, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a good person, I'm a kind person, I'm a compassionate person. It's still me and mine, isn't it? Or my country, my family, it's all that's the no more sense of self. That's the Buddha talk about the three conceit, That's I'm good, I'm better, I'm worse, there's no more, the sense of self gone. So when the sense of self gone, there's no more reborn. So we're not coming back. So it was with reference to this that is what said, the ties of conceiving do not sweep over one who stands upon this foundation. And when the ties of conceiving no longer sweep over him, he is called a sage at peace. Bhikkhu, bear in mind this brief exposition of the 6 elements. Thereupon the Venerable Pukkusati thought, indeed, the teacher has come to me. He recognized that, he is the Buddha. It's the teacher come to me. And because after he listening to the Dhamma, then he realized, actually he's the teacher. The sublime one has come to me. The fully enlightened one has come to me. Then he rose from his seat, arranged his upper robe over one shoulder, and prostrating himself with his head at the Buddha's, at the Blessed One's feet, he said, Venerable Sir, a transgression overcame me in that, like a fool, confused and blundering, I presume to address the Blessed One as a friend. He said, sorry that I didn't know that you are the Blessed One. Then I address you as friend. So that's why when may the Blessed One forgive my transgression sins as such for the sake of restraint in the future. Next time I will restrain in the future. Surely, bhikkhu, a transgression came to you in that like a fool, confused and blundering, and you presume to address me as friend. But since you see your transgression as such and make amends in accordance to the Dharma, we forgive you, for it is growth in the noble one's discipline, and when one sees one transgression as such, makes amends in accordance with the Dhamma and undertakes restraint in the future. So like, yes, like for us, like as a monastic, we every Upassata, we have the confession, it's not to make someone guilty. It's just like, yes, we make mistake, we forgive ourselves, then we move on. Actually, it's just for the peace of mind. It's not try to carry the guilt when we do the confession, Then, we make amends, okay, make sure next time we don't do it again. Okay, if I break this rule, okay, make sure that I be more mindful. Most of those minor rules is because of sometimes you lack of mindfulness, you are not mindful enough, Of course, sometimes, the only the enlightenment, the mindfulness really constant, When someone is not enlightened, your mindfulness, sometimes you can catch it, sometimes you can't, isn't it? So that sometimes a bit, and most of those rules that we confess, actually, most of them, they are not immoral by itself. It's just like just to refine ourselves, like, so all those all those rules that are confessable, that is all the minor rules, but actually to help us, to support us to develop a mindfulness, we are more aware, to refine ourselves, So remember, sir, I was paragraph 34 now, okay. Venerable Sir, I would receive the full admission under the Blessed One, but are your bowl and robes complete, Bhikkhu? Venerable Sir, my bowl and robes are not complete. As you can see, when our ordination, we have a bowl, we have our robes. So that's why if you don't have your robe and you don't have your bowl, you cannot ordain. So that's why the Buddha said, I cannot ordain you because you don't have your robe and you don't have your bowl. So bhikkhus, Tathagatas do not give the full admission to anyone whose bowl and robes are not complete. Then the Venerable Pukkusati have delighted and rejoiced in the Blessed One's words, rose from his seat, and after paying homage to the Blessed One, keeping him on his right, he departed in order to search for a bowl and robes. Then, while the Venerable Pukkusati was searching for a bowl and robes, a stray cow killed him, you see. He died, before he be able to ordain, because he said he go and look for his bowl and robe, but a stray cow killed him. Then a number of bhikkhus went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, they sat down at one side and told him, Venerable Sir, the clansman Pukkusati, who was given brief instruction by the Blessed One, has died. What is his destination? What is his future course? Then because the clansman Pukkusati was wise, he practiced in accordance with the Dhamma and did not trouble me interpretation of the Dhamma with the destruction of the 5 lower factors. So he said he's already have the destruction of the 5 lower factors. So the clansman Pukkusati has reappeared spontaneously in the pure abode. That actually he's become a non-returner, anagami, third stage of enlightenment. So he have already abandoned the 5 lower factors. So are the 5 lower factors? That is the no identity views, self views. That is no more doubt. That's the first one. There's identity view, doubt, and no longer attached to rights and ritual. And the first stage of enlightenment, extreme Venus, they abandon the 3 lower factors. So for anagami, they have 5 lower factors. So the fourth one is greed, and then ill will. So that's why unless you are anagami, even you are first stage of enlightenment, even you are a stream Venus, even that you are once returner, you still that kind of, we said the evil is not the gross type, like it's the subtle type. You still have, like for example, sometimes if you annoy, actually you feel annoying itself, like agitation itself, that is actually that very subtle anger is there. Like they're not angry. So that's why unless you are non-returner anagami, that's why you have no ill will. That's why sometimes people said to me, I still have ill will. I said, of course, unless you are anagami or fully enlightened, then you don't have ill will. So I said, not too worry about that and not get upset about that, I said. So then that's why he's attained final. Then he will be, when non-returner, then he will not come back. He will attain nibbana from the in the pure abodes, and will attain final nibbana there without ever returning from that worm. That is what the Blessed One said. The bhikkhus were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So it's enlightened. So you see, it sounds so easy. They listen to one talk and then they got attained. Actually, they've been practicing many lifetimes. It's not only now, you know. Yes. Okay. Yes, this someone asked, because of course it's very difficult that I can explain so much a bit more about this from the Majjhima Nikaya for the Chula, where the last suttas, neutral feeling is pleasant when there is knowledge, and painful when there is no knowledge of it. I'm asking as people are questioning neutral feelings pleasant. Is I already explained, because of your mind is not refined enough to experience it, because it's, for example, when someone haven't practiced, mindfulness, when they are not mindful, they don't even know they have anger. They don't even know that, isn't it? So sometimes after over a period of time when we practice, we started to say, oh yeah, I have this happy pattern. Oh, I have this thing, that I don't even know actually it's there, but it's so refined, because your mind is not refined enough to experience that. So it's like some of those, for example, some of those subtle defilements, we can't see until when we train our mind become more and more refined, then we can see all the subtle defilements, isn't it? Like before we practice, before we meditate, before we practice mindfulness, sometimes lots of things we don't even know we are doing that. We thought that only someone else doing it. And sometimes you have to train your mind. It's not subtle enough, that to experience that actually the neutral feelings is actually is not agitated. So when your mind is not, that they don't have the excitement, because the mind is too gross. Like for example, like sometimes like our breath, when we do breath meditation, and when the breath become very, very subtle, if your mindfulness is very gross, it's not refined enough, you unable to really go with the focus, go with that refined breath. Then normally what people do, doze off. Because it's too refined, So then what you have to do, you have to go back to a coarser breath. You have to build up your momentum. You have to strengthen your mindfulness. So only when mind is bright enough, you'll be able to see that. So the mindfulness, your mind is not bright enough. You're not refined enough to see the subtle defilement. Like for example, like some of the things like when we meditate, sometimes when your mind when you become peaceful, you feel, isn't it, much more, isn't it? Like everything amplified, like you put things under the microscope, you can see things very clearly. For example, when you're watching TV, you're bitten by a mosquito, you don't feel that. But when you sit quietly, wow, you can feel when the mosquito beats you. You can feel that the needle going in, and it's very clear. But that's why the mind is not clear. The mind is not refined to see the difference, That's why all you need to do that. that you have to, most people feel really bored, like, because especially we used to have the stimulation. When you don't stimulate, like you see people feel restless, isn't it? If nothing to do, because especially you used to rush from one thing to another, keep going, so busy, and then suddenly you stop. They feel like, I remember someone been going on through a lot of difficulties, and then she had lots of worries, and then slowly her life, like, getting better is okay, and then she have less of the problem, and most of them slowly solve and things like that. And then she said, I'm so free and nothing to worry. Because you used to worry, but nothing to worry, you find things to worry. And then she said, I noticed that I find things to worry, because like suddenly I have nothing to worry, because you used to that kind of excitement. So when there is no excitement, you're not used to it, and then you're unable to see that, because the mind is too gross, So Lawrence Williams, from Sydney, Australia, Ajahn, how does awareness of the elements fit into the Bodhi Eightfold Path and the gradual training? It's fit because of you see, the Eightfold Paths, you have the right views. The first one is right view, and then the right intention. That's you think of renounce, think of doing good, and also then become the right speech, right action, and right livelihood, and all this is fit into. Because you need to develop your mind. You have to have your morality, because the Eightfold Path is morality, samadhi, and panya. This is three that actually is fit in. If not, you can't develop that awareness to be really see things as perceive things as it truly is. It's a whole path of practice. It's not that I just meditate, you can get enlightened. You can't. You have to take up the whole path of practice. You have to practice restraint, keeping precept, that support your meditation. This whole path of practice actually is fit in. It's not that, all I need to do, I just practice mindfulness and I get enlightened. No, you can't. Like some people, I know some people come to me, I'm not interested in the teaching, just teach me how to meditate. But if you don't have, you have to have other qualities to support you. Like virtue is the foundation for a peaceful mind, for samadhi. Isn't it? If someone not virtuous, very difficult to meditate. Isn't it? Your mind disturbed. We know for ourselves, if you have done something that is not, you know that is not quite right. When you sit in meditation, how do you feel? You have the remorse, isn't it? So if you are a virtuous person, you have this non-remorse. So the Noble Four Path actually is divided. There is a Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So the right view, right intention is a wisdom part, Panya part. So the Samadhi group is the energy, right mindfulness, and right concentration, and like stillness. This is the Samadhi part, and the virtual part is the right intention, right speech, and right livelihood. So actually, it's fit in. It's a virtue, morality, samadhi, and panya, and it's there. So sometimes even keeping precept, you have to have a bit of wisdom. Knowing that I'm keeping the precept is not that I look better, I'm a better person, I'm holier, like just like nuns, like we keep all these precepts. It's not that we keep it because of so that I become holier than others because I have more precepts. No, we keep it is to support our practice, to practice restraint, to restrain ourselves. Because if we can't restrain ourselves, then we was doing something harming others and harming ourselves. So when we do something unwholesome, unskillful, and actually it's affect us, we have that remorse. So when we are a virtuous person, a beautiful person, we have this non-remorse. We feel so good about ourselves. It support our meditation. So you cannot say, I just meditate, and then on the other hand, and then, you don't, how you live your life, and someone very selfish, and you just, very, very, very gross, and you swear all the time, and then you always have argument with people, and then you think that you can sit there and meditate, be peaceful. You can't. That's why it's fit in, Then only you can develop the kind of awareness of the elements, because you'll be able to perceive elements as elements. You have to have that non-reactive awareness. Your awareness, your mindfulness have to be very strong, You have to develop that. So you can develop to that level of mindfulness. So you need the whole path of, you need to take up the whole path of the practice, the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path, that means it's morality, a stillness and wisdom. So it's fit in. Yeah, it's a gradual training that there's a different level of, Rebecca Chiu there's a third question, Rebecca Chiu from Hong Kong Ajahn. Thank you for the class. What is the difference between I, myself in the context as this is I am not, this is not myself? Okay. When the difference between I and myself, this is me, and this is like things it belongs to myself, and this is myself. Like for example, like how we extend the sense of self. Like this thing belongs to me is myself. Like this is how we take possession. Even like my house, and this belongs to me, and this is myself, and this is a sense of self. And in the context of this, I am not, and this is not I am. That like this is how we think that. Oh, I'm a good person. I'm not a good person. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's still I am is there. So that is the identity we views, how we view ourselves, who we think we are. The views are, like sometimes people have the image of themselves, identity of themselves. Like, I'm a kind person. So then you think that you're a kind person, that is come from ego. The identity, how you view yourself. I am this, I'm not that. I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. I'm not this, I'm this. I'm not that, I'm this. That it still come with I am. That the identity, like we own them. This is me. I am this. That is the we put label on. We identify ourselves as this, as not this, and this is me, and this is me. This is myself. So, dear Ajahn, the suttas often said neither perception nor non-perception. What does this mean? So, like, is this like the perception? Like when there is sometimes like it's in between. Like you are not. This is not a perception, and this is non-perception. So that what does this mean? So this is quite difficult to explain. And some of these things that sometimes you have to practice and experience yourself, then you can understand much more. It's just like sometimes you try to explain, like you haven't tasted a mango, and you try to explain that how a mango tastes like. Then I can keep telling you like how it tastes like, go on and on. Do you really know how the mango tastes like? Until you have tasted it, So sometimes some of this, you can go and, I know sometimes like go on and on. I think once we have the class that we talk about non-self, after a whole lot, then someone asked me the questions of, there's non-self, who am I, why I'm here? I was thinking, and yes, sometimes not too worries about, about all these technical terms, and sometimes naturally when you practice, you understand, So, yeah, I also don't know how to explain this. Sometimes I also find it difficult to explain. Sometimes you try to, it's very difficult sometimes some of the things even you try to put in words, it's so difficult, So I hope this helps. So any more questions or comments on the floor? Yes. Give her the microphone.
The sutta talks about cultivating relinquishment. And just wondering, because those concepts, like you cultivate something that you want to try and relinquish. So,
actually, if a true relinquishment is only come from when you be able to see the truth, like it have to come from you be able to see that you have to true relinquishments, the renounce, that actually you have to come from that wisdom, the clarity. You see that, oh, when I hold on to this will not cause me so much suffering. You have to be able to see that. Then that is a true, like the letting go has to happen only when you see that this is what causes you suffering, what holding on that makes you suffering. If not, we sometimes we just attach to attach to non-attachment, Sometimes we attach to not letting go, but we are not letting go. We only attach letting go, but, that's not truly letting go, Unless you truly, we can only come to that place of, the place of that nibbita, eternal, where, no longer interested, no longer be able to really renounce, be able to really relinquish. Until when we see that, only we be able to have that, to truly be able to relinquish. But of course, it's happened little by little. Maybe we be able to relinquish it's a gradual training. It's from a coarser level to more refined level. It will not happen just overnight. We be able to have it's okay. Even if, for example, even those we come from the sense of self, that we still doing something good, It's just like the Buddhists. This is a teaching of all the Buddhas, He said, he said, we abandon unwholesome, cultivate good, and develop your mind, to purify your mind. So you have to first of all let go of the unwholesome first. So it's just like you want to cross the other side of the river. You use the raft, Then after, before we reach there, we still need that, So it's okay. We don't, maybe sometimes, we being kind, we still, because of it's not truly. Even though we are not truly come from the place that, no attachment at all. Sometimes we still attach the identity of being a kind person. And then we're doing good. It's okay. Better than you doing something that is unwholesome, It still come from the sense of self, but it's okay. Because you're not there yet. It's fine. It takes time, So is it answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Any more questions or comments? No? So okay. It's 4:30. Okay. Okay, thank you.